Failure is power. And until we start looking at it that way, we are never going to use failure to our advantage. My name is Dr. Wendy Zimmer, and welcome to More Than Mindset Monday. I want to talk to you today about a practice that I have put into my life that has made a massive difference. And it's the way I look at failure. So often people ask me, how do I overcome failure? How do I deal with failure in my life? And the thing is that's the wrong question. We should want failure in our life because failure leads to power. Let me tell you how. So you've probably heard your whole life the way I have, that it's only failure if you don't learn something from it, which I don't disagree with that argument. But we've got to take it a step further. Actually, a couple of steps further. Because failure is an amazing tool to give us feedback. And that's the first step, when we go from failure to feedback. Because that is what you've been taught. Failure is only failure if you don't learn from it. There's part of that learning is through feedback. Because when we fail, we figure out what went wrong, what went right, because it's rarely a complete failure, and then what we can do as a result to make the outcome different the next time we try it. Because that reflection, that active act of thinking about what happened and then making changes, that feedback is vital for the outcome being different the second time around, or the third time around, or the fourth time around. And then once that failure turns into feedback, that feedback turns into knowledge. You have new experiences. You have new knowledge. You have new background. You have new information that's going to help you make a better decision the next time around. Without failure, you wouldn't have made a better decision. And while we often see failure as a way to just absolutely think negatively about ourselves, so often the outcome that comes from failure, the result of that feedback and that knowledge, makes the long-term results so much better than if we hadn't failed in the first place. So we fail, we reflect on it, we get feedback, we turn that feedback into knowledge, and it doesn't stop there. We've got to act even further because the next step is to take that knowledge and act upon it. What will you do differently now that you know what you know? What will you change? What will you modify? What will you add into your life? What will you get rid of so that it does not serve you the way that it served you in the past? And then that action is what takes you to the final step, which is power. Because without that action, without doing something with what you've learned along the way, then the failure is just failure. But when you act upon the knowledge you received and the feedback you received from that failure, that's where power happens. That's where you create something better than you ever would have created before. That's where you're a stronger version of yourself and a prouder version of yourself and a more confident version of yourself. And you believe in yourself at a completely different level. Because we can't just stick with thinking about what went wrong. We can't just stop and say, well, I failed, I'll do it differently next time. No, that will never last. To truly be who we are designed to be, to truly believe in ourselves, we've got to do more than just think. We've got to do more than just focus on our mindset. We've got to take that failure, turn it into feedback, turn that feedback into knowledge, act upon that knowledge, and then through that action, have the power to create something better than we could have ever imagined. Truly successful people fail at more things than non-successful people even try. So today, what are you going to fail at? Celebrate your successes, celebrate your failures, and turn your failure into power.